Sticking with Milan, Gabi, after Kyle Walker and Santi Jimenez, they added 3 more players on deadline day. Ricardo Sotil, Warren Bondo, and especially João Felix. Gabi, you thought this would happen, but it did, and he scored on his debut as well.
Yeah, so Warren Bondo, let's get him out of the way first. Obviously, he's another body in central midfield. Benacer gone. Sotil is a left winger. Yeah. João Felix plays on the left wing. Rafael Leao is a left winger. Christian Pulisic, his best position is on the left wing. So, hey, look, I don't get any of this. To accommodate João Felix, they were able to do it because they moved Morata in this complicated deal. I don't see what he adds. I see what he can add.
Yeah, like we saw yesterday on these 20 minutes appearance or something.
Sure, but I also imagine somebody else might not have done a lovely chip, but with that assist, somebody else might have scored that goal too.
True.
I wouldn't bet against Pulisic or Leao from that position.
You're right, that's true.
We'll see. It
That's
does not seem...
It's an Uncle George deal, right?
It's 100% Uncle George deal. Uncle George...
Otherwise, he's got nothing to do there.
Uncle George has special relationships with clubs, right? Chelsea needs some help. Hey, let's get this guy and his wages off our books and let's get us a loan fee. Milan, so, where can they send him? Oh, he's unhappy because he's not playing because Maresca is not trusting him in the league. Let's send him to Milan, where, oh, look, my friend Sergio's in charge. I tried to sell them Trincao, and they laughed at me. But look, now I can trick them into taking João Felix. If Conceição can unlock him, if he can help him find his mojo, he is a very good player. He is one of the best highlight players in the world. He's also the 5th most expensive player in the history of football, and he has never lived up to it. He has not started more than 18 games since his first year at Atletico Madrid. That was 5 years ago. There is a reason for this. So is Milan the right environment when you know it's a 6-month loan? I don't know. I don't know where he's going to fit him. I got lots of questions. Manchester City's net spend was more than 220 million euros this window. This is more than the next 4 big spenders combined. Leipzig, and then 3 relegation-threatened clubs. Como, Rennes, and Wolves. After Marmouche, the biggest signing came on deadline day. So I got to ask, can Nico fill Rodri's big shoes?
So he can't fill the shoes. It will never be as good as Rodri, but it's the same position. It's a similar profile, to be fair. I mean...
Minus the passing?
Yeah, he's a poor man's Rodri, let's be honest. But
minus the size?
Well, no, the size is the same. They have the same size.
Well, Rodri's much more impactful than...
But they have the same size. Then I think Rodri is more aggressive than Nico, who's maybe a bit more of a ball player, kind of number 6, who's played in La Liga and then in Portugal with Porto, where usually they have a lot of the ball and it's a very different rhythm to the Premier League. So we will see if he adapts, how long it takes him to adapt. But certainly they needed somebody for that number 6 position because Kovacic, Gundogan, and Bernardo, this is not serious at this level. So while they wait for Rodri, Nico would come in. And I think he will do a good job. He's good. They overpaid for him, no doubt.
Let's just put the overpayment in context.
He's a good player.
Transfermarkt, not that that's gospel, had him at, I think, 30 million.
Yeah, I think 35 is probably fair.
18 months ago, he moved to Porto for 8.5 million.
Yeah.
He only really established himself as a week in, week out starter in Porto in the first half of the season on a Porto team that's not particularly good.
Absolutely, yeah.
And you go, I just wonder, I mean, look, I'm being mean, but between the 60 million here, the 40 million for Kusanov, and the fact that there's no sporting director there, I wonder who is signing these big checks and why. I can't help but wonder that, but hey.
Yeah. Sticking with Nico, ESPN Sam Marsden and Moises Llorens in Barcelona report that Barca will earn 13.3 million euros on that deal because they had a selling on fee, which is great, but they could have had much more than that, no?
Yeah, look, I'm very happy to go and criticize João Laporta in Barcelona, but not on this occasion. Originally, it was a 40% of the sell-on, and then Porto said, hey, we'll give you 3 million now if we reduce the sell-on to 20%. And they said, sure. So they took the 3 million because I think they never thought that somebody was actually going to pay 60 million for this guy. No, there's no evidence. Nico has as many international caps as you do. Yeah, what are we talking about?
No, I know.
It's not like he's 18 years old.
He's a good player. But you're right. All the points you make are real.
So in the end, they make 13.3 million instead of 20.6 million. Big deal. It's good news for Barcelona.
Yeah.
It's not just Marcus Rashford, Jules. Aston Villa going a deadline day spree, picking up Marco Asensio and Axel Disasi on loan. Monchi gonna Monchi. Do his moves make sense to you?
So for Disasi, they had the Mings injury. Diego Carlos had left to go to Turkey. So they were sure, no problem.
No argument.
Yeah, he wanted to play Champions League
Big
football.
lad.
That's why he didn't want to go to Spurs. Big boy. If you play on his strength, I think he can be good for you. For Maresca, his strength were just not the right ones. Okay. Marco Asensio, he started okay the season in Paris with PSG as a false nine very often. He's versatile. He's got plenty of experience. Won the Champions League with Real Madrid, won loads of things with Real Madrid. He can be a squad player. I don't think he starts for Villa. And I think that could be good. The big one is obviously Marcus Rashford because it's an expensive loan, considering they're paying pretty much all his wages, or could end up paying all his wages, which are enormous.
90 for the, I was told that for them to pay the 90% that people have bandied about, Marcus Rashford would have to do exceptionally well. I think it's still possible. I think they'll end up paying about 2/3 of his wages.
Yeah, which is still a lot of money. And he's going to play on the left-hand side, where I guess you could see him being better than Jacob Ramsey, maybe, although I like Ramsey a lot. And I think the Ramsey relationship with Morgan Rogers is very, very good. So we'll have to see. But they don't sign Rashford not to play him. So I expect him to play this weekend against Spurs in the FA Cup, for example. I expect him to be heavily
who's the backup
involved.
center forward?
Oh, Rashford, but then Watkins. If Watkins is not injured, Watkins plays as a number 9. Rogers can play as a number 9.
I don't like either of these moves. You still have Leon Bailey, who's there. You have McGinn. You've got a lot of body. I mean, yes, they need a deeper squad. But to insert these two, frankly, foreign objects, one of whom hasn't played in 2 months, the other one,
the fitness of Rashford is the most worrying.
The other one I think is a very different profile because Asensio's versatile, but I don't. Yes, but he would have to kind of focus on being a winger or focus on being a center forward because those are not false nine movements that Watkins makes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jules, we talked a lot about Mathys Tel. Let's talk some more.
Yeah.
He joins Tottenham from Bayern for a €10 million loan fee with an option to make the deal permanent for a reported €55 million.
That's right.
It sounds like a lot to me. And Ange Postecoglou says he is, quote, more than 100% certain that Tel will stick around. Okay. It's not just a mathematical impossibility of Ange's words that makes no sense to me here.
So Ange it's obviously BS. He doesn't know anything if he was going to stay or not. There's a reason why Spurs wanted an obligation to buy, so to be sure that Tel would stick around, and Tel refused it, didn't want to take it because he wants to play for the next 4 months, see how he goes, see if they qualify for Europe next season or not.
Well, what Europe are they going to qualify for? They have to worry about avoiding relegation.
Yeah, but they are good enough to win the Europa League easily.
Yeah, they would have to win the Europa League.
Yeah, which I think they can do, or they can win the League Cup if they beat Liverpool tonight in the semi-final. And they're also still in the FA Cup. So I think they can win. But I think he wants to see that. For me, he's a wonderful player. He's Paris born and bred, which helps. He's been a crack since he was 15. Max Eberl said that when he told Bayern Munich that he wanted to leave this January, that Eberl received so many calls from clubs, like more than for any other player that he had, and he's been a sporting director for a very long time. So I think he shows you how much interest there was in Mathys Tel, and that Spurs won him. Great. United didn't want to pay the loan fee.
€10 million is a loan fee. Yeah, is an enormous amount of money.
So I was told it was 5, not 10, but it might be 10. I was told it was 5.
Okay.
But
well, Bayern insists it's 10. So
United didn't even want to pay 5. Right. So, which is you said a few shows ago that a lot of clubs don't want to do loan, don't want to pay, and we understand the logic why.
English clubs traditionally don't do that.
Yeah, that's very true, especially big clubs. But yeah, I'm very excited because I think Postecoglou spoke at length with Mathys on Monday morning, and in a way kind of convinced him to come to Spurs. I think plays a style of football that suits Mathys Tel, who has this pace. He's very good in front of goal. He can do a lot of things. He's a very exciting player in what should be an exciting team. So it should be an exciting time.
Okay, just my issues with this. One is Spurs actually have a lot of wide players already, who one way or another they're tied into, right?
But he's not a wide player. He can play wide, but he's a striker or second striker.
Fine. They also have Richarlison, who's a striker, a second striker, and they have Dominic Solanke, who's a striker or a second.
Yeah, but
he's really
injured
just a
for
first
a while.
striker. So I get the short-term aspect of it. This is a huge loan fee, again, for 4 months. Because, let me put it another way. If I spend 100 million euros on a striker, on a permanent deal, let's say Alexander Isak.
Yeah.
This is what Alexander Isak will cost me for half a season. 10 million euros, assuming I signed a 5-year deal. Plus wages, which I'm assuming Tell's not playing for fee. So this is an enormous commitment. And here's my thing with Mathys Tell from Spurs. This is why it just seems so unlike a Daniel Levy, unless there's stuff that we don't know. If Mathys Tell does badly, then he goes back to Bayern and you shot 10 million up the wall, right? If he does really well, let's say he scores 15 goals, all of a sudden, Bayern might be like, oi, come back to us. That Harry Kane, he's old now. And Spurs, yeah, you can say they can get in the Europa League, whatever, they win the Europa League, blah, blah, blah. But Spurs are not Bayern. Spurs can't pay what Bayern pay. Yeah, Bayern or another club, by the way.
Yeah, but Spurs trigger the option to buy that they have. That him.
But he still has to agree, though.
Yeah.
This is the other thing.
But if he does well there, and
they trigger the option to buy so that they can sell him to Real Madrid or whatever. Did you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This option to buy stuff, actually, you're in a pretty weak position when you think about it.
You could be, I guess.
This is why I find it like it's a huge roll of the dice. But yeah, we've been hearing how talented he is. Several Bayern players, we can see it with a very few times Bayern let us see him.
We will see, I guess, now more than...
We'll see now at a different level of competition. Hopefully he gets minutes on the pitch.
Yeah.
But again, if I'm Bayern and I'm aware Leroy Sané is leaving, Gnabry's getting older and not any better, Harry Kane's going to be a year older, you would think there would be a pathway for him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm fascinated by this deal. Sticking with United, they also picked up somebody named Aiden Heaven from Arsenal. Jules, all I know about this is that he was part of a highly rated trio with Ethan Ranieri and Miles Lewis-Skelly. I know about the other two because they've gone on to bigger and better things. Yeah. I'm guessing you know more about this guy because...
I saw him playing in the preseason. He played actually against Manchester United. Made a big mistake that cost a goal. He was a center. He's a centre back. He's really tall. He's
left-footed.
Decent on the ball.
Left-footed.
Yeah.
Left-footed. Lisandro cover.
I don't know because he's still so young. I don't think he's ready
Ranieri
right now.
and Miles Skelly presumably are just as young.
Yeah, but in terms of he's never
his
played.
Development.
In his development. But there is potential there. That's why United go for. He's the second player from the Arsenal Academy that he signed after...
somebody who's so good that you've already forgotten
I can't remember his first name.
But tell me about this guy and maybe explain to people, because I think it was just a couple million. If this guy was such a highly rated youngster, can you explain the mechanism which allows United to get him at such a young age? There's no market value here, right?
No, there's no. Yeah, you pay a compensation for the academy years that he had at a club, which happens in every league. You can't just pick up somebody who's 18 that played for 8-9 years in another academy and just pick him up for nothing because he's yet to sign a professional contract, for example. So that was the case in this one. I guess from an Arsenal point of view, there was not much of a pathway for him in terms of being a centre-back in this team. There's other players from the academy as centre-back that maybe you believe more into. I don't know. But clearly for United, they saw the potential and thought, let's go and get him.
Because I'm thinking like the guy who's stopping him from being Gabriel and Saliba's backup is Jakub Kivior. And so...
it's not as easy. I mean, we see with Omari Hutchinson, for example, who felt he had no pathway at Arsenal, that there was no agreement on a contract there. He went to Chelsea.
No pathway at Chelsea.
But then, neither. Yeah. But then he's still playing in the Premier League.
I think the difference is Chelsea had to bring the money in for Omari Hutchinson. True. Arsenal not in that position.
Yeah, absolutely. Napoli were hoping to sign Alejandro Garnacho from United to replace Kvaratskhelia. They ended up with Noah Okafor instead, Gabi.
Yeah, they cycled through a whole bunch of candidates. Karim Adeyemi, for some reason, there was a 40-hour period where Karim Adeyemi was presented as like, whoa, look at this guy. It's the next big thing in football.
And he turned them down. He said that, I don't want to. What, really?
Yeah. Then they wanted Alan Saint-Maximin, and as we've told you here before, problem with that was Saint-Maximin is on loan in Turkey. At Fenerbahce, I think. Yeah. And essentially, Napoli would have had to pay a loan fee to a Saudi club. But
it was complicated.
And that fee would have had to compensate Fenerbahce. Fenerbahce were saying, these guys, they don't pay. They say they'll pay, then they don't pay. So in the end, that went right. So Giovanni Manna, and credit to him again. Anytime a sporting director goes, and
Yeah.
I think more should come out and
Press
do this.
conference, yeah.
He explained all this, and he said, "Look, Garnacho was our first choice. Garnacho's not on a lot of. He's still on a pretty basic contract." He said, "But the guy wanted a lot more,
Yeah.
like a lot more than other established players at this club, and that was the main hurdle for us." Now, is it true, or is it that they couldn't agree terms with United? Because as I understand it, their offers and what United said they wanted are still pretty far apart.
Yeah.
Opportunity miss. I'm sure there'll be clubs that want to sign Garnacho in the summer. I think a lot's going to depend, though, it's how much playing time he gets between now and then. And who knows? Maybe he'll rue turning down a chance to work for Antonio Conte.
Ben Chilwell has a new club. Hey, just Crystal Palace on loan. Why?
He did play this season. I'd completely forgotten. He played, one half in September in the League Cup.
Yeah.
His deal expires in 2027. He's got no pathway at Chelsea. He's not even in the squad. So, hey, why not? Well, let's see what he can do. Presumably he's fit. Obviously, injuries have dogged him in the past. He did play a little bit last season. Why not? After Minguiri, Marseille pick up Ismail Benacer on deadline day from Milan. Jules, what do you make of my boy Mehdi Benacer? Enough to consolidate second place?
I think he's done a really good job. They had players leaving, Kone, Brassier, Wahi, obviously that just didn't work out when they signed them 6 months ago. Mehdi signed them 6 months ago. So that's not maybe the best look when you're sporting director. You sign players and it's clearly not working out for them. So you have to let them go 6 months later. But Guiri, I think it's a great signing. I think Ismail Benacer, people in France have said there's a reason why Milan let him go. There's a reason why if you're Marseille, you can sign him now, even if he's only 27 or 28. I think there's been a lot of injuries. He was quite cheap. It's a loan with an option at 12 million euros, I think. It's not much. But there's a reason for that, obviously. So let's see what kind of Benacer turns up. But a midfield of Højbjerg, Rabiot, Benacer is looking pretty good still, So
2 tall guys and a little guy.
2 tall guys and a little guy. Back to United again, Astarol Malacia. Remember, he used to play for Manchester United. Has left on loan to join our friend Peter Bosz at PSV Eindhoven.
Yeah, so obviously you want to get him on the pitch. I will say this, and whatever people think of Ruben Amorim, he gave everybody a chance. Everybody. Right. I was shocked to learn that he played 9 games for Manchester. He made 9 appearances for Manchester United since Amorim arrived. And considering Amorim arrived, the first day at work, I think was November 11th.
Yeah.
9 games in 2 months? Oh, sorry, 3 months. That's a lot for him.
Yeah, some started as well.
Some even started. Yeah. So he's decided, look, there's no pathway for you here. Let's see what you can do back in Holland. You'll have a year left. I wish him all the best.
Yeah.
And I'm glad Amorim at least gave him a chance.
It didn't work out.
Chelsea have signed midfielder Mathys Amugu from Saint-Etienne for £12 million.
Yeah.
Jules, what should they expect and will they see him?
He's 19 years old. He's from Paris, so obviously that makes him extra special. As I always say, he's an incredible talent. I don't think there are many better than him in Europe at his age. For his age group, certainly he led the France under 17 team, the France under 19 team to great success.
So why is he only £12 million?
Because Saint-Etienne needed the money badly. So I think Chelsea were in a very strong position on that front. Also, I guess because he's untested, he's played, I think, maybe around, 10 or 12 Ligue 1 games this season. Some good, some bad. Some you could still see how young he is. Others you could see the talent that he has already. But then the Premier League and Chelsea is a different level to Saint-Etienne and Ligue 1. And,
is he an attacking midfielder?
He's a box-to-box midfielder.
Okay.
So he's got
He's Enzo.
Engine. Yeah,
he's a French Enzo.
Technically, he's very good. He's got a great vision. He's not the most physical because he's quite small as well and not the strongest yet, but he's only 19 again. So he's still very young. Turned 19 not that long ago, I think. We'll see.
Lamine Yamal is 17. He looks at him and calls him grandpa. But sure.
I said on the FC show the other night, Chelsea already have Andre Santos, who is only a year older than Amugo. Santos is one of the best midfielders in Ligue 1 right now. There's no debate. He's outstanding. Do you go and spend 12 million on a player where you have, Andre Santos is maybe a little bit more defensive minded than Amugu, who's very, much more box to box. I get that. But still, I think I probably would have trusted more in Andre Santos, even to call him back from the loan, really, than spend 12 million on Amogu. But Amogu is one for the future. So is Andre Santos. We'll see, I guess.
Again, that's a weird one, Chelsea-wise, because I've argued all season that I think they're short in terms of defensive midfielders because Romeo Lavia's injury issues.
Yeah.
And then you have Caicedo, and then you're kind of, up Spit Creek.
Could they be in his loan to Strasbourg, not a clause that you can call him back? Maybe is that possible? I don't even know if that's legal.
You can't because it's outside the registration window. I mean, they can call him back to train with him and stuff. But
so could they do a shallow bar with Andre Santos?
Not once the window closes. No.
But could they have done that?
Could they have done it?
Yeah,
I would assume so. I mean, they own both clubs, right? They can make a new loan deal. I mean, you can do whatever they want.
It's strange.